We are live inside of Cave Arena on the Demers campus of your Piedmont University Lions. That's right, myself, Chloe Spradlin, Eric Edmondson on the call here, Leo Ferrero on camera for the visiting Berea Mountaineers and your Piedmont University Lady Lions. We've got the starting lineups for you. I will start off with the visiting Berea Mountaineers. Number 44, Linkayla James. Number 3, Ataya Moss. Number 4, Dalen Spalding. Number 10, Jaden Merriweather. And number 12, Drea Satori. That's the starting lineup for the Berea Mountaineers. But Eric, why don't you give us the starting lineup for your Piedmont Lady Lions?
Lady Lions debut at home, starting off with number 14, Andalyn Hill. She's a double-double threat and a threat in nature on the court. She's returning. Also returning is the Rookie of the Year, number 25, Alex Willis. Number 4, Haley Barino has been shooting well from beyond the arc. Look to keep that going this afternoon. Number 11, Ashley Scott will follow her, another shooting threat, along with number 15, Kelsey Banks. Again, the starting five for the Lady Lions. It's Hill, Willis, Barino, Scott, and Banks.
Got a big game today. It's the season home opener, Eric, and it's a big one today, all right? Berea no longer in the Collegiate Conference of the South, but still very much a threat to these Lions at home.
Absolutely, and I wrote it in my notes before we started here, Chloe, is that this is going to be played like a conference game. These two squads are very familiar. The last time they locked horns, it was a 57-50 victory in favor of the Lady Lions that had a lot of CCS tournament stakes at hand, and Lady Lions were able to pull one out in Cave Arena against a Berea team last year that I believe was undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, in conference play.
Absolutely, they were undefeated. They defeated in the very last game of the season. The Lady Lions had crushed the undefeated dreams of Berea. Berea did go on to win the conference championship, but this is a different year, a different season, and a different start. Lady Lions starting now, but it's a hot start for Berea. Now, this is Barino with the ball. Banks, back to Barino. High court press from the Mountaineers. Ashley Scott now, graduate student in her 6th season with Piedmont University women's basketball. Now, the Rookie of the Year. Can she make her statement once more? And it's an even ball game, 2-2. Early start, and this is Drea Satori with the ball. Drea Satori, this offense runs through her.
Her and Linkayla James are going to be such huge threats. That's an excellent 1-2 that Berea has. They used that against the CCS all season last year, but something that the Lions need to utilize a lot more this year is Alex Willis. She needs to be careful about her fouls because she is such a threat on the glass.
So many threats. A different look Lions team this year. A lot of graduates from last year, but there's still some familiar faces. Just now, those faces have to make bigger statements on the court. Speaking of one familiar face, this is Andalyn Hill, a transfer student last year. Made a huge impact in her first season. Now Banks with the shot up, and in for 3. Seeing matching high court press from the Lions. Drea Satori with the ball over to Dalen Spalding. Spalding back to Satori, passes the timeline, and it'll be a foul.
It should be a timeline violation if not mistaken. So already a lot of good defense here by the Lady Lions and some good offense from what we've seen is that you're going to have to pay attention to them on the paint especially, and in the corners is where they look like they're going to excel. Whereas Lakin Styles last year, a lot of the offense ran through her and how she would distribute the ball, whether that be going for a long 2 or going to the top of the key for a 3.
Last season when these two sides faced off, it was a defensive masterclass. It was one point where both defenses were so strong. Don't know if this says a lot about the offense or the defense, but it says they were so strong that there were 7 minutes without a single point scored. A low scoring game. Might see something a little bit different as Linkayla James goes up to the top for 3, hits off the rim, rebounded by the Lions player. Goes past now. Alex Willis, what can she do here? Goes up off the glass and it's tipped away. Lions regain possession. Ashley Scott at the top. Takes her time. Has ideas inside to Hill. Tries to cut and do something. Back over. And Alex Willis trying to drive in. Cut out by Linkayla James. It'll be a jump ball.
It's going to be Piedmont's ball, it looks like. And yes, it will be. And I was just watching that play right there. I'm surprised there was no foul called. So referees are going to play a little bit more loosely now because they realize both Linkayla and Alex are going to be so physical in that paint that you don't want to flag them too early, because that's what was the stopping point for Berea last year, is that James got knocked out of that game against the Lions so early on.
Now, 3-point shot at the buzzer. And it doesn't come off for the Lions. Linkayla James with the defensive rebound. Now, Drea Satori over to Spalding. Spalding crosses the timeline. Now, Moss had an opportunity, goes up for James, and James gets her first points of the game. Linkayla James, without a doubt, is the one to watch in this one for Berea.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't avoid her. She's in every facet of the game. She's going to be in every lane, every mix-up. She's the only way you can get above her or get around her is if you get above her, like this.
That's Barino getting above. And your Lions lead 9-4 in the first quarter. Lions off to a hot start. Linkayla James goes up and in, cuts the lead to 3. Still seeing some high court press, not as aggressive as before. Of course, you can't sustain that press for an entire game, but one thing that we do see from Berea is that their starting lineup, with a couple of cameo appearances, they tend to play most of the majority of the game. Excited to see how the Lions can try and tire them out and truly make this game become a real good game for the Lions. It's a jump ball. Look to be in possession of Berea, and we'll see our first substitution. That's Andolyn Hill stepping out.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how the Lions and the Mountaineers go with the stealing. Stepping in here is Kennedy Henson, getting her first minutes.
Now we see Drea Satori. Was a first-team all-conference for the CCS last season. This offense runs through her. She is a good player. Shot doesn't come off. Now Alex Willis, 1-on-2. Can she go for it? Hits off the rim, rebounded by the Mountaineers. Just Satori again on the near side of the court against Banks. Cuts inside in toward the paint. Far for 3. And it just goes out. Rebounded by Banks.
Yep. It'll be a foul against Berea. That's going to be against number 10 for them. That is Jaden Merriweather. Watch out for Merriweather. There was a 30 minutes averaged all by Satori, Merriweather, as well as James. So as you mentioned, Chloe, there's a lot of the starting lineup that starts or plays the majority of that game. That's that trio you're looking out for.
This is Nene Eads now with the ball, having to play a much bigger role than she has in the past. Last season, we started to see Eads get more in tune with the starting lineup, get more in tune with more play time. But this season, with the graduation of Lakin Styles, with the graduation of Lou Woolfolk, Nene Eads has to step up and has to step up big.
Yeah, and Woolfolk and Eads and even Woolfolk didn't start as much as she did at the end as she did in the beginning, or at the beginning as she did in the end. So Eads and Woolfolk looked really good together, but talking to Coach Purdy before the season started, Eads was one to look out for, she said. She said that they were going to give her a shot to be that big ball disperser at top, and obviously not starting in this game, but I would suspect that Eads is just right on the cusp of coming in. Similar to another player we saw last year who has been great, it's Emmeline Ralt.
Emmeline Ralt steps in, Alex Willis stepping out. Drea Satori goes to the line. Cuts the deficit to 2, has the opportunity to do it again for a 1-point game. Up and out. And the Lions retrieve possession. Henson with the ball, facing pressure from Spalding. Is cutting and turning, able to create space for herself now. Directing traffic over to Ralt. Just stepped into the game. Tries to drive toward the paint. Has an opportunity to go in. Leaves it for Eads. Looks to call a play with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Eads, can she drive it in herself? Goes up for it. And just goes over the rim. Satori now with the ball. Still seeing some high court press, but not super pressing there. Just applying a little tension. For 3 is up. That was Itaya Moss. Now Ashley Scott. Yet to see a 3 from her, but we know that she can do that. Has done it for 6 years now with Piedmont, graduate student. The shot opportunity is just a bad miss from the Lions, and now it goes up. And that's a lead now for the Mountaineers, 12-9.
this is a tough Berea squad, but this is a Berea squad that the Lions should be familiar with. And right now, the Lions caught a little bit off their guard, it seems like. They're not being as physical or not being as aggressive as you would tend to see these Lady Lions. And I wonder if that's a game plan on the half of Coach Jamie Purdy. She knows what she's doing. She's a great game general out there. So Lions, I would expect them to get a lot more physical once they get their guys back out of the court that they like, as in Hill, as in Willis.
And this is a team that it's a team that you want to be physical against. Well, if you don't stay physical on the Berea Mountaineers, then that's a type of game where you start to see the best players in the CCS, now in the Heartland Conference, really start to find their rhythm. If you want to stop their rhythm, you've got to stop their mojo. That means getting aggressive.
Absolutely, and Lions haven't been able to get any sort of scoring, and that's a good defense by Berea, who has crowded the paint, and they've also blocked off a lot of shooting rounds, whereas Nene Eads has tried to control the game by doing a little bit more ball dispersal. What worked early on and caught the Mountaineers off their game at the beginning of the game and out the gates was that the Lions were being a little bit unpredictable. They were shooting when I don't think the Mountaineers thought they were going to shoot. They weren't setting up as they needed to in the Mountaineers playbook. So take a lot more of those super aggressive shots. If you find your open shot, go ahead and do it. If it doesn't match the playbook, you don't have to go to the playbook exactly. But to stay in this game before the Mountaineers make a run on you, you definitely need to throw some back up on the board.
We'll see if that's the instruction that Coach Jamie Purdy gave to her squad after calling that timeout. Lions scoreless for the last 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Meanwhile, Berea on an 8-0 run in those last 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Now we'll see.
That's that same starting lineup with the exception of one for the Lions out there. That's Riley Bryan stepping onto the court.
It's Alex Willis stepping back onto the court for Emmeline Hall. Or Rawl, excuse me. Now it's Spalding with the ball. Want to see some aggressive defense here from the Lions. It's Barino against Satori. Satori trying to make something happen. Over to Moss for three. Off the rim, rebounded. Not quite received by the Lions yet, but it's Henson now with the ball. Over to Barino, 1v1, inside the paint, tries to go up for it, and is fouled in the process.
Good job by Barino to capitalize on a fast break here. Going to get an opportunity from the line, and the Lions have been very good from the stripe so far this season. Second foul on Berea. Lions just hit with one. First shooting foul here.
Barino goes up. And in. Double digits now for the Lions. Barino with her second opportunity. Bounces off, goes in. Now just 1 point between the two sides. Still not seen any substitutes from Berea. Got to give it to them. They're definitely in shape, but got to question how long can they sustain that. Of course, your best players are going to get tired. Sometimes they get frustrated. We saw that last season, Linkayla James getting that tech and having to sit out the rest of the game. Interested to see how that works. Satori now. Over for a three. Linkayla James get the offensive rebound. Merriweather with the ball over to Satori. Now Spalding. Merriweather once more. Inside to James, 1-on-2, and it's Alex Willis with that rebound. It's going to be Willis versus James all game long when it comes to rebounding. And now, Riley Bryant.
You're going to need that for Willis, but you're also going to need some help for her as well, because while Willis has the stature over Linkayla James, James definitely has a little bit more a width to her. She has a lot of space to control. She's a very physical player, and Willis can do that and get the boards off of her, but Linkayla can definitely move her out of the way if necessary.
Now, with 15 seconds left on the shot clock, so James look to go inside, over the top pass. And now it's Satori. Will she go from three? It's Merriweather now. Airballs it. Now Moss goes up and has be fouled in the process. Looks like that'll be on Andolyn Hill, and that'll send Moss to the line.
Tough one there for Hill. Everyone reaching up for that ball. You just got to stay vertical. You can't reach down like what happened there against Moss. So you just got to make sure that those hands stay in the upright.
Ashley Scott subbing in for Kennedy Henson as Moss is to the line for two. First up, bounces, goes in, restores that 2-point cushion. But it's been a tight game so far for the Lions. They've done a really good job of keeping this one tight. One thing that Berea tend to do is when they get in their rhythm, they start to go, and it is hard to stop them. I think the Lions have done a pretty good job of stopping them this year. Now, Ashley Scott, first shot in, goes for three, just bounces out. It's only a matter of time until she gets another one. Riley Bryant goes up, and it's Linkayla James now with the ball. Barino gets the steal, though, inside, 2-on-3, and now all the Lions have recovered. Riley Bryant goes up inside the paint, and it falls. Bryant with her first points of the game. Riley Bryant has been such a good player since her freshman year, but has been times where the upperclassmen have really gotten their ability to shine. Now that she's a junior, it's her time to shine on the court. I'm really excited to see what Riley Bryant does this season. Air ball's out, and it'll be Piedmont ball.
Absolutely, and that's something that you look for. It's a bittersweet feeling when you have such great seniors in their collegiate athletic careers, but you also have so many good players that are right behind them, especially in Piedmont's case. The farm gets ever richer.
That's Bryant again for two with the jumper. Now Satori with the ball. Lions restore their lead by 1. Moss taking her time, trying to make some moves happen. Over to Merriweather, but it's cut out by Willis. Able to save it, and Ashley Scott now has the ball. Taking her time, letting Willis return back to the field of play, and it's now Barino. Barino to Bryant. Inside to Willis. Over back to Bryant. Goes up and is fouled in the process. Sends Riley Bryant to the line.
And that's what we were talking about. There's a little bit of paint undiscipline for Berea. They definitely try to get that ball free as much as possible because they know their offense can back them up a little bit. But already in a little bit of foul trouble on the bonus side-wise as they're already into their third.
Riley Bryant goes over to the line. I like what you're talking about when it comes to Berea, though, because so many of their players are offensive masterminds. But defensively, sometimes they just lack that discipline, like you said. So I think it's important for the Lions to take advantage of that, especially inside the paint, and really take advantage of that when it goes to the line. Bryant makes her shots. Now Satori is trying to field her way into. Now 1-on-2 there. Merriweather back to Satori. Satori with 16 seconds on the shot clock. Now we'll see back to Satori. Couple substitutes for Berea. We'll get those to you momentarily. Less than 10 on the shot clock now. Barino with great defense. Alice Willicks trying to make that happen. It's another foul. Unlucky there. I think she just tried to swat for the block, but instead just grabs the arm.
Yeah, and we're going to have a referee discussion to see who that exactly is going to be on. It's most likely going, not going to be on Willis here. So Willis escapes a foul. It's going to go on Scott for that one. I think she's going to get called with a charge there.
Seeing a few substitutes for Berea. Number 22, Howell has stepped in the game. That's Madison Howell. Number 32, Peyton Bugg steps in as well. One more substitute that we'll get for you all now. Nevaeh Bates
Junior.
now in the game. Goes up, Merriweather in. And the Lions just have 1-point lead with 20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Barino trying to take her time. Don't let Berea get the ball back. Want to take some points into the quarter break. Barino now with the ball over to Scott. Now Willis goes up for it. Great play from the Lions, able to get something on as they head into the second quarter. 2-1. The shot goes up for Merriweather, and it bounces off. Your Lions go into the second quarter with a 3-point lead. A very good performance, I would say, in the first quarter for your Lady Lions.
And that last play we saw there to get them to go up by 3, that 2 by Willis, that was flawless execution because you felt that Berea was pressing a little bit. They wanted that last possession. They wanted to get that final steal to see if they could go up and take that lead away from the Lions. But the Lions were cool, calm, and collected. They were able to play into the pressure a little bit, and they were able to get Alex Willis free, which in the turmoil, I don't know how you let Alex Willis get free, but that's exactly what happened there. So Berea, it shows their colors a little bit there early on, is if you put them in a tough situation, put them in the back against the wall situation, and we saw where they had to go for that last second on the shot clock. They did get a foul out of it, however. But if you put them into that area, they're going to be a little bit flustered, and they're not going to be as good as they usually are.
Agree 100%. And one thing you can do is when Berea are showing their colors, making those mistakes, you take advantage of momentum. And you don't just take advantage of momentum, you extend it. Take little bits, little wins, little moments, and then create them to be larger and larger momentum. When you get momentum like that, that's when you create leads that are in the double digits, that are really can make a statement to the rest of the CCS. Berea used to run rampant on the CCS and the USA South. Now, if the Lions can beat them as they're in the Heartland Conference now, this would be a huge statement to the rest of the league.
And they've had a very tough schedule early on, which is fantastic for early pre-conference action, is that you do have that strong strength of schedule. And Berea, even though they have been in the CCS, they, like you said, Chloe, they ran the rest of the CCS, so it doesn't really matter. So, more play-by-play action here for you as we begin the second quarter. 18-15 just to reinitiate you into this game. Berea getting ready to inbound this one. Another chance of high court press, very aggressive high court press as the Lions send 3 across the timeline. Good job by Berea to throw the brakes on that one. Berea needs to shoot a little bit from the corner if you're them. The Lions need to pressure those corner shots. Satori outside, here's a corner shot right here, and it does go in. More or less from a wing, but a corner three-pointer nonetheless. So we're all tied up once again at 18-18. Scott takes across timeline. Now Scott directing a little bit of traffic. She's going to go over to Barino. Barino searching for someone to heave it to. Finds Willis. Willis bounce pass over to Scott. Scott's looking 3. Scott! Next one!
Ashley Scott back like she never left and shooting like she's still young.
Berea looks to rebound quickly. Lions flooding the paint, defensive lines with Barino right around guarding the perimeter. Tough defense on Satori. Satori errant pass. Takes a couple seconds off the shot clock as Berea has to regroup. Top of the key now. Ball moves towards the paint. They flip to the corner. Stolen away by the Lions. Ashley Scott with her hand in the cookie jar. Goes over to Banks. Banks looking for it. Rattles in and out of the rim. Offensive rebound by Andolyn. Hill's going to get the foul.
And that's one of those examples, Eric, of taking advantage of their errors and creating your own momentum. A great steal from Ashley Scott. Turns into a shot from 3. Instead, you receive the foul, and now it's Andolyn Hill to the line, able to extend this lead. It's a slight lead by 3, but you can extend this now to 5. Get another opportunity to extend it to 7.
And Andolyn Hill looking to march towards that as she lands her first shot, 22-18 now. Her second one is just as good. So an excellent job by Hill from the line as Satori looking to avoid this high court press from Banks. Banks pacing her way across. Willis guarding paint along with Banks. Good double coverage defense by the Lions, but an even better shot by Nevaeh Bates to go up and over.
One thing I'm really interested that I'm seeing is both sides applying high court press. You're not seeing anything light and easy from the Mountaineers or the Lions as we see Barino go up a couple times, but both teams, as we're seeing right there, knowing that this has to be an aggressive game for them to get the victory.
Absolutely, and you know Bates is going to get hit with a foul there, but that's one of the unfortunate ones. You know, Bates and Willis went for that one, and unfortunately Willis just took the hit. We've seen Willis take a lot of hits in her young career here at Piedmont.
She's taking them well, though.
Oh yeah, as long as it puts points on the board, right?
As long as it gets us trophies in the cabinet.
I'm saying. Scott at the top of the key. Goes back to Banks. Banks is thinking 3. Banks off the rim is going to be recovered by Berea. Berea on a fast break here. Lions looking to cause a little disruption, and a foul is going to go towards the Lions' way. Excellent job to set up in the lane there. That's going to be on number 10, Jaden Merriweather.
It's a great job from Ashley Scott, showing her leadership, showing her knowledge and awareness being in this program for so long, as we see Kayla James stepping back in. This is an important player. Now the Lions have this momentum with one of the best players back on the court for the Mountaineers. Can they keep this momentum?
And they've been shooting well from beyond the arc, or at least taking those chances, so I think they can avoid James should they continue to follow that script. Andolyn Hill right on that perimeter, looking for somebody inside, gonna find Willis. Willis in a one-on-one scenario, gonna go up against James, and she conquers the mountain. 25-20 as we enter the final 7 of this first half, and man, oh man, when it rains it pours. Berea is in a fluster cluster right now.
Just little victories creating momentum. A 5-point lead now. Just a mistake. One of those little errors that you don't think you make all the time, but suddenly you do it. And now the Lions have the ball, have an opportunity here with Kennedy Henson, who's just subbed into the game.
Henson was left alone. Unfortunately, couldn't find anybody inside the paint. It's stolen away by Berea. Thumbs are going to go up here. It's going to be Berea's ball. So Mountaineers will inbound it right near the luxury seating. Satori up against Barino. Barino's giving her trouble all day long, looking to continue to cause havoc. Kayla James, 2-on-1, has to go off the side of the bumper off the glass, and the defensive rebound goes for Piedmont. Barino in the right wing goes over to Scott off the front of the rim, rebounded by Hill. Hill goes for the three-point play.
And one. That's great work by Hill. It's great work by the Lions in general, because the second that shot went up, they didn't just wait. They didn't say, ooh, Ashley Scott got the shot off. No, they immediately crashed underneath the rim, and they knew that they had an opportunity to get that rebound. Now a three-point play, and now an opportunity to extend this lead to 8.
Hill 2 for 2 from the line. Like you said, they got 7 points back in a flash. And Hill remains perfect from the stripe.
Riley Bryant going to step in for Ashley Scott.
As is Nene Eads for Haley Barino.
Riley Bryant had stepped in momentarily in the first quarter for 4 minutes. In those 4 minutes, she got 5 points. She's hot in this game. She's really trying to state her case to get more playtime and establish herself as one of the best players on this roster.
That's going to get put on Nene Eads. Tough foul there. So in comes for the Mountaineers, it's number 35, Joyce Mukalomisa. Snap pass to Mukalomisa to James in the paint up against Willis. She can't get over her. Eads with the rebound. Good job by Eads. She'll flip over to Bryan. Bryan inside to Hill. Hill motioning, looking for Eads on the outside, and Nene will reset the traffic. Over to Bryan, right at the logo. Now, inside to Willis. Willis searching for somebody. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Hill with it. Snap pass over. Bryan thinking from the line. Takes that long shot at a 2. It's off the glass and rebounded by the Mountaineers. Satori. Been rather quiet on the scoring end, Satori has. Here's James. James pushing her way to the hoop, and Alex Willis slams it right down.
There was a reason Alex Willis had led the CCS in blocks last season. She's so good at reading the ball and knowing when to put the hand up, knowing not to get the arm, and knowing when to say, not in my house.
Great move by Willis. She'll get put on the bench here just to catch her breath. Berea also goes to the bench here to grab Kayla McClendon. They're shooting for 3 here, and it's airballed right in front of the rim, right into the hands of Andolyn Hill. Hill, long pass with some authority on it to Scott. Scott right at the line, trying to get through the tough trouble in the paint, throws it up, gets the foul. Yes, sir.
Great job. Obviously, obviously Scott is driving, trying to get inside the paint. A great defender that Berea player was, but goes up knowing that she's going to get the foul. That's just smart awareness there. An opportunity for a 2-point play to get this lead to double digits.
And this has also been a great run by the Lions, as if they're going to give them free points, they're going to take them from the stripe.
Speaking of that run, it's now a 6-0. Can it be 7? It is a 7-0 run by the Lions in the last 3 minutes. Meanwhile, scoreless are the Berea Mountaineers. Don't say that often.
A 10-point differential between the two squads as the Lions hang on to the ball. Another fumble by the Berea Mountaineers.
So you got Taya Moss stepping back into the game. Dalen Spradlin stepping out, or excuse me, Spalding stepping out.
I was like, that's you.
A little similar, a little similar.
Scott over to Eads. Eads from the Cave Arena logo goes over to Brian. Scott. Scott over to Brian. Brian up against James. James watched it past her at the free throw line. They give it to Eads. Eads in the paint gets shut down right before she goes for the layup there. Foul's going to get called against the Lions. That's going to be against Nene Eads. That's her second foul. Needs to be a little careful here.
Yeah, a little bit unlike Nene Eads, as we'll see timeout here, a necessary timeout if you're Berea going 0-10 in the last about 4 minutes. Meanwhile, the Lions, how can they stay hot? They trust the process. They don't try and do anything just because you're feeling good and you know you've got this big lead against this powerhouse team. Doesn't mean you go and start taking shots from nowhere and thinking that you're going to make them. No, you trust the process. Stay with the little things that have gotten you far along this way. Berea are not playing their best game, and we're seeing that. They're going and making mistakes, capitalize off these mistakes, and that'll increase the lead even further.
Absolutely. In this last 4 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the half, the Lions, I don't think they need to change anything in the game plan. They've been running really well, especially when they haven't had that same starting five on the court with them. They have been magnificent from the line. They've been magnificent in the paint. They have gotten the steals when they needed to. They've gotten the blocks when they needed to. This is the type of games that you dream up in the practice session while you're coaching.
100%. Everything you said, Eric, was correct, just because every single player on this Lions team that has stepped into the game has done a job for them. Every player that's come in has stepped up, and they're sharing the wealth. That's what I want to see from the Lions. They play their best when all the players are getting in the buckets, not when just one is doing it, when every single player is, and that's what's happening right now.
Berea trying to find their way back into the paint. Mukalamusi goes up and gets the foul. That's going to be on Andolyn Hill, calls for a shove. Fourth foul, if I heard correctly. Second on Andolyn Hill. So Mukalamusi at the line. Her shot rattles home. 21-30, Lions still up top. Going for that second one. It's going to land as such.
That breaks the scoreless run from 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Now, just an 8-point lead for the Lions. Important that they keep with the process. Now, Barino trying to do that here.
Stepping out is Hill. She'll get put on the shelf here momentarily. Scott goes over to Barino. Barino looking for somebody. She's going to find Alex at the line. Willis gets shoved down, and we'll see who that foul is going to be registered to. It's going to be registered to number 3. That's Ataya Moss.
It's Moss's first. The team have 8.
So just got an updated stat sheet. Andolyn Hill leading all scorers in with 7 points, with Willis not passing her just yet. She's sitting at 6. That breaks that streak for the Lions from the stripe. They've been magnificent from that. They've been able to get those points as Willis rarely 0 for 2, but 0 for 2 here. And the Lions unable to get the rebound after first touch. Now with just 4 minutes left here in this first half, Berea on a fast break, and Barino able to get a hand on it. They will say she stepped out though, but it was a Herculean effort by Haley Barino.
It's a great effort. I almost thought she had it. Did get that foot out on the green stripe just a little bit, but great work by Barino. And I love seeing Haley Barino stepping into this role now. It's like we talked about this in the pregame, Eric, where a lot of the Lions that we've seen on this court are graduated. So now it's who's going to step up in these larger roles. Haley Barino has done that. Kelsey Banks has done that. Kinsey Henson has done that. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Lions right now.
Absolutely. Henson with the rock goes to Willis, who's at the top of the key. Unfamiliar territory for Alex as now she goes towards the paint. Scott at the line, goes from the line logo, and it goes off the back of the iron. Rebounded by Mukulamusi. Or excuse me, that is McClendon. McClendon in the paint, goes up and has an and one opportunity. See who that's going to be on. I think it's going to be on number 10, Henson. I don't know about that one. Oh, that's a little bit of a rough one. I think they're going to argue that Henson didn't have her feet set.
It's Henson's first. It's the team's 5th.
They need to be careful here. So the three-point play is good. And all of a sudden, it's a 5-point lead for the Lions as they've been shut out here over the past couple minutes. Barino finds Scott. Scott goes over to Banks. Kelsey, bounce pass over to Ashley, looking for Willis. Willis trying to find somebody right at the stripe. Takes the shot anyway. It goes off the box of the glass, but not into the net. Mountaineers right at the top of the key, flip inside to Linkayla James. James and Willis one-on-one again, and James cannot overcome Alex Willis. Thought Henson was thinking 3 there, but she holds up instead. Kennedy Henson goes to Banks. Banks, a bit of an errant pass to Barino, but the Lions able to recover it. Willis thinking to Banks, who's thinking 3. Banks goes off the back of the iron and collected by Willis, who goes to Barino. Barino goes 3. Now the Lions able to rebound again. This is going to be called a jump ball here. And it will be a Piedmont ball still.
We'll see a substitute for the Lions. Brooklyn Begley's going to step in, and it's Kennedy Henson stepping out.
Haven't seen Begley yet today, but we do know Begley can shoot a good bit.
Yes, we know she can. Not had too many minutes, has appeared in every single game this season, getting 2 minutes, 20 seconds to work her magic here. We'll see what she can do.
Barino looking for somebody, and she's going to go to Banks. Good pass to get it over everybody. Banks to Begley. Begley. Bounce pass to Barino and Satori all in that passing lane. Excellent job by Satori to jump on that ball. That's just a good player right there.
And it's always so tough when you've been cold for so long in the game and then suddenly you've got to step in and play a huge role. That's a hard ask. It's a tough ask. Brooklyn Begley looking to see if she can do that here. So we're still seeing this high court press all half long from the Lions.
If the Lions trying to suffocate those points, Alex Willis now left to defend all alone. That errant pass pushes Mukulamusi all the way to the corner, but the Berea Mountaineers able to recover as Linkayla James gets that rebound and breaks her own scoring drought to go up for 2. Lions have run a little bit cold here as of late, especially from shooting beyond the arc. Willis goes to Scott. Scott looking to change that. Scott off the front of the rim, rebounded by James. Berea looking for a fast break here. Good passing by them. Right in the lane is Willis. That is going to get pushed over to the Lions. Excellent job by Willis.
That's a travel called.
Yep.
Thought that was going to be a charge. Looked like the
I thought
travel.
it was too. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, looked like the travel came before the charge. So double whammy, Lions ball. And they really need something here. 0-7 run.
Banks unable to find her way off the glass. And it's not without the inability to, or the ability to shoot, it's the inability to find the bottom. This is going to be on Piedmont, if I'm not mistaken. It is going to be on Barino. 5th foul for the Lions as Satori takes it to the line. Not what you want to see.
Yeah, Drea Satori, only 1 point in this entire game, does lead the entire court with minutes. Opportunity to go up for 2 now. Now 2 points. But still, just because Drea Satori isn't getting the points at the moment doesn't mean she's not had a massive impact. Has actually been in for every single minute of this game.
And she just cut the lead to 1 with that last free throw. You mentioned how she isn't up there in scoring, but she's been great in ball dispersal. She's been great in stealing the ball away and making sure that Berea has as many opportunities to score as they can, getting a lot of possessions flipped over for the Mountaineers. Here's Willis, who goes over to Begley, and that is shut down, but good thing for Brooklyn Begley to get it back, and Kayla James slams the hand down on that ball. But I think she's going to get hit with a foul here.
It is now Begley, pretty in pink with those shoes, steps up to the line. Opportunity to make an impact here. It was a great drive into the paint. I mean, it was a good attempt for the block by Kayla James. I actually thought she had it at first, but referee says otherwise, and now Begley with the shot.
That's foul's actually going to be on Mukalu Musi. As the first shot from Begley lands, now the second is going to go off the front of the rim. James recovers with just under a minute left in this half. Lions hold a skinny 31-29 lead. Satori goes to James, who goes for a long two here, and it goes off the back of the rim into the hands of Brooklyn Begley. Begley, fast break, goes to Banks, goes over to Barino. Barino's thinking three, and she's good for it.
Everything you needed and more from Barino.
Scott Barino, good job to keep the hands out there. That foul is going to get called against Berea as Willis takes some time to get off the court.
Yeah, that was a hard charge. One thing that we've seen often, we spoke about it earlier, and we've seen it time after time in this game, is that Alex Willis is going to hit the floor. That's what she does. She's strong. She's willing to take the heat, go down, and get those calls. Now, that's a great moment for your Lions. Now have that restored lead back at 5, and with 18 seconds left to go in the half, they've got an opportunity to extend that lead even further after a rough spell.
Banks is thinking for it. Goes off the rim. It's going to be rebounded by no one. It'll bounce out, and that's going to be Piedmont's ball. Piedmont might have got a lucky break there with 8 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, no comment. No comment on that decision.
I'm not going to complain about it, though. Barino, heave pass over to Begley. Begley takes a little bit of time, goes through the paint, tries to go up and over, and Banks comes down with that ball, and thumbs go up with 2 seconds left. So Lions just holding on to this ball as long as they can in any way they can.
See if you can get a quick shot, probably to Ashley Scott. Instead, it's Willis, goes up for it, but it's smacked away. They're going to call a foul right before the buzzer goes off.
That's got to be on James.
Don't think they're going to let that.
Yeah, I think they might nix that foul call. Nope, they're going to keep the foul. It's going to be Andrea Satori.
Interesting. Looks like just...
They're going to review the footage here to see when the buzzer went off. That's what the holdup is. But at the conclusion of the first half, or rather, now, if they do get the foul, we might go to the line. But at the moment, it's 34-29 in favor of the Lions as they came out for a great first half. We can talk about this now. They had a fantastic first half against a very tough opponent. They went on a great run, and more importantly, they kept the Mountaineers off the board during that run, even if they weren't scoring themselves.
Yeah, they were phenomenal. I thought this is as good as they could have been against a very good Berea side. A Berea side that, like we've said before, has terrorized the Collegiate Conference of the South. Now that they are not in the CCS anymore, in the Heartland Conference, still we're seeing that aggressive matchup that we've seen in the years past, and we're seeing it well. One thing we talked about as well, Eric, is this is a new Piedmont side. Yes, we've seen familiar faces, but those familiar faces are being thrust into roles that we've never seen them in before, and I think they're taking them really well. One player that I've been really impressed with is Haley Barino. 7 points, leads all the Lions, tied with Andalyn Hill, is the guard for this team, and she's doing really well of organizing everyone. She's an upperclassman now, so she's getting that opportunity to go out and really direct things on the court.
And you really took the words out of my mouth there, Chloe, because that's exactly what I was going to say about Barino. She was the player that came to mind. You know, Hill being up there and scoring, it's not going to surprise you. She's a double-double threat every time she's out there. She's a great player. But Haley Barino, not to say that she didn't come in with expectations, but she was a little bit under the radar. Even when talking to Coach Purdy, I don't think that Barino was in the forefront of the plan. She was definitely up there. She was definitely looked to be depended upon, but she has taken a huge step here against a very tough opponent. Now, as we said multiple times, this plays like a conference game. If you are dueling with, quote, let's say the best of the conference, if we're pretending they're still part of the CCS, if you're dueling with them like this, then that only bodes well for your conference action.
Speaking of boding well, it looks like this will bode well for the Lions. It will be a foul on Andrea Satori that will send Alex Willis to the line with 0.6 seconds left on the clock in the first half. And this could potentially, knock on some wood for me, but this could capitalize a very good half for the Lions.
Alex Willis 0 for 2 for the Lions so far, looking to correct that, and she's off to a good start. 35-29. Willis's second shot is not as good, as it will be rebounded by Berea, and the half is officially over. So your score at the end of the first half, 35-29 in favor of Piedmont, as they will have a good rallying speech in the locker room, but I'm sure Berea is going to have the same, and they're going to come out with a better game plan out of that locker room, Chloe.
Absolutely. I think for Berea, it's just clean up the little messy mistakes. You know that you're better than this. You're a team that has gone on to terrorize every conference you've been in, and probably going to do the same to the Heartland Conference now, but also execute. They have the game plan. I don't think they're executing it as well as they could, and even when the Lions are having such a good performance right now, they're still only within 6, and this is a long game. Basketball's not played on paper, and we've got a long game to go.
Absolutely. We're going to step away here for a halftime break. Suggest you do the same. We'll rejoin you in about 14 minutes. You're watching Piedmont Lady Lions basketball on YouTube. Welcome back to Cave Arena in the Johnny Mize Athletic Center. Eric Edmondson alongside Chloe Spradlin, Leo Ferrero on the camera to my right. And Chloe, it was a great first half for the Lady Lions. 35-29 was the final. But we are ready to go here in the second half with Satori getting the ball first for the Mountaineers. James goes up and it's off the iron and into the hands of Willis, who hands it off to her teammate Barino. Lions first possession of the second half. Hill goes to the top of the key where Banks awaits, over to Willis. Alex thinking for somebody, goes to Hill, who's directly under the net and goes up for two. Lions held the Berea Mountaineers to just 7 shots from beyond the arc in the first half. And they've been putting up good paint defense so far, but the Lions just 3 for 13 from beyond the arc so far. That shooting percentage does need to tick up a little bit should they want to remain explosive. Berea motions in, takes that long 2 shots right off the front of the rim and collected by Hill and the Lions. Hill tracking towards wanting that double-double again. Kelsey Banks is thinking 3. This one rattles in and out of the rim and into the hands of Linkaya James. Berea having more of a slow measured game as they drop a 3-pointer there. 37-32.
One thing from Berea that you're going to expect coming out of halftime was that was not their best performance in the first half. You've got to expect that there was a fire lit under them at halftime. So one thing I want to see from the Lions is we're going to see a lot of shots from Berea early on. They're excited. They're hungry. They've got this fire under them. They don't want to have that same performance they had. They need to weather the storm. Take what's coming to them. They know that this is a good team with a lot of fire coming. They have to just calm down, take what they give them, and like they did in the first half, take the mistakes and turn them into their own momentum.
Absolutely, and Satori gets fouled here, and she's pleading her case with the referee. Just trying to see if where that foul really came from.
At least they were able to smile about it.
I guess so. It still stands, though. Barino, top of the key, flips over to Banks. Banks motions inside to Willis, who hits it off the foot momentarily, but a good job by Alex to recover. Goes up against James, and Linkaya James has had no answer for Alex Willis this evening.
Yeah, I said it earlier in the game. It was going to be James versus Willis, and I think while James is having a good game, Linkayla James, 6 points and 10 rebounds, Alex Willis has been very, very good.
And Scott's going to get hit with a foul here. And taking it to the line is going to be number 10 for Berea. That's Jaden Merriweather. So she's going to get 3 shots here, I believe. First shot does land true. Merriweather suits up for the second. It's off the front of the rim. Willis had to duck the head, not get hit with that one. So already a decent foul here. As she misses this one, it'll be a good one. But no good fouls here, as that one will land as well. 39-34. Here's Scott, who flips over to Hill. Hill to Willis. Willis finds Hill once again. Hill was thinking for a long shot there, but then goes back out to Banks. Banks is shut down. It will be a Lion ball, however, but Banks ran into double coverage there.
And that was Linkayla James doing what Linkayla James does best. She's a hawk inside the paint defensively. Scott
left all alone, and Berea punished for it as she goes up for 2, 41-34. Mountaineers right near the Cave Arena logo on the far side of the gym. Mukalamusi tries to find James. James able to react quickly there. This goes off the glass. Mukalamusi over again, and the Lions are going to rebound this one. Errant pass by Alex Willis goes right into the path of James, and Berea is able to steal 2 there. Lions looking for something to answer back with. Scott. Here is Willis now. Scott now back in the paint. Tries to heave this one up. Will get the foul on it.
It'll be Jaden Merriweather who will be called on the fouls. We'll see Scott go to the line. One thing I want to see from the Lions again, which we saw a lot from the first half, is quick rotation. Keep the energy high, keep the pressure high, and have all of your players that are on the roster who have done so well in this game. As a shot comes off, all of your players that are on the roster that have done so well, just keep them in, keep them going. Don't let up the pressure, because once you let up the pressure, that's when you give Berea Mountaineers just a sliver to let them come back in and try and dictate this game.
Absolutely. Lions get that 2 back as Scott lands both of hers. Satori will slow down the game. To the corner, Merriweather looks 3. It's off the inside part of the rim and into the hands of Ashley Scott. Scott, long pass over to Willis, trying to speed this one up. Scott creates motion for herself. It goes off the front of the rim, unable to put that one down. Satori in the paint, goes to James, who goes for a long 2. It's off the back of the iron, right into the hands of Hill, and a little bit of around the world there as Hill's able to stay with it. Willis again shows off the hops. They have been leaving Willis alone this entire second half so far, and it's proved to be dangerous for them. She's gotten multiple looks at the rim. Mugalamusi looks to James. James long over to Merriweather. Merriweather stumbles on the dribble, goes to Mugalamusi, who can't control it. Barino will get it right off the hardwood. Here's Hill on the fast break. Dumps to Banks. Banks and Hill connect for 2. And a timeout's going to be called by Berea as they could not get out of their own side. A phenomenal fast break by the Lions. Chloe, that's what you love to see.
Yeah, a necessary timeout by Berea. They were starting to get cooked. A 6-0 run in the last minute and a half for the Lions. We're going to see a couple substitutes come in and keep that pressure high. The second the Lions start to get some momentum, keep it up, keep pressing the Mountaineers, and we'll see some of these changes here. Hopefully they'll be able to continue with that pressure as well. It's been a great performance so far for the Lions, Eric.
Absolutely, and I said it before we really started the second half. You can't ask for more. This Lions squad is running very, very well right now. The Lions are going to get maybe some fresh legs underneath them when they head back out onto the hardwood, whereas Berea is going to try out that same core that just has not performed well. Satori is not having her best game. James is not having her best game as the Lions have put the clamps down on her. One of the only ones having a decent game scoring-wise is Merriweather, but Merriweather's looking to get in foul trouble.
Yeah, taking a look at Merriweather now, 8 points on the board, tied with Linkayla James, but that's Merriweather with 3 fouls already. We're only halfway through the third. Has to be more careful here, and we'll see Berea inbound the ball, trying to come back from an 11-point deficit. Highest deficit of the game so far.
5 minutes left here in this third quarter. Nene Eade steps in, as well as Henson. Merriweather looks 3, and she's good for it. Merriweather continues to heat up. Here is Bryan, who's back in the game. Stolen momentarily by Berea as they popped it out. 22 for them, steps in. That's Madison Howell. Eads, a lot of pressure on her by Satori. Eads looking to find somebody. Everyone in line with each other in the paint. Now Nene looks to make her own alley. Goes to Scott. Scott tries to go up and over. It'll be tipped down by Bryan, and it will be a ball for the Mountaineers.
It looks like Riley Bryant might have gotten elbowed in the process there.
Yeah.
Looks like we'll go into a media timeout here. And, you know, a quick break for the Lions as well as Berea once more. I think this is something, again, to just harp on what the game plan is. Remember, just because you've got subs in, sometimes they come in a little bit cold, especially after just having halftime. You got a little bit warm, but nothing quite the same as being in for a majority of the game. Just sticking with the process and trusting it. Don't go crazy now that you've got this lead, because we saw this in the first half. Lions had a 10-point lead. They were flying high, felt good, and all of a sudden that lead was cut to 1.
Absolutely, you're right there, Chloe. So Lions are going to send the same 5, it looks like, as Willis, Henson, Eads, Bryan, and Scott will step out back out onto the court once our times out.
It looks like the Cave Crazies are starting to get into it. It's an interesting time around Piedmont University's Demarest campus right now. Finals are starting to ramp up, so starting to see some people electing to stay inside, starting to study. Of course, Thanksgiving break as well coming up soon in the next day or so. So some people starting to go home for the holidays. Safe travels if you're involved in that pack that's leaving. But the Lions staying here, putting in work throughout the entire break.
Absolutely. I know I'm going to be putting in work through the entire break. This one across the timeline as the Mountaineers set up near around the top. Looks like Madison Howell was thinking 3, but we'll go inside instead. And that's going to be a call against Mukalamusi. As yes, it will be. Scott was set up very well in that lane, and that one was charged. Scott over to Eads. Lions on a fast break. Eads slows it down now as the paint gets covered. 47 to 39. 3:55 left. Willis to Scott. Scott right around the top of the key. And a foul's going to get called here. We'll see who it's going to be on.
I think that's on Alex Willis.
Yep, sure is.
Interesting off-the-ball call.
It is. But Willis's first foul, which is what you love to see at this point in the game. Willis is learning from last year and not getting a foul until the third quarter.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Eric. One thing that we loved from Alex Willis is that she's so aggressive in the paint, but sometimes that aggressiveness landed her in trouble and had her team, as we'll see, a travel called on Mukalamusi. One thing, it was a detriment to the team sometimes, those fouls, and we're starting to see she's a sophomore now. She's starting to mature, had her time in the CCS to understand how college basketball goes, and hopefully starting to see her be even better than she was last season. That's first season, it's first team all-conference. I smell it coming.
And that's just fantastic for a young player, that you're not only do you come off a great rookie season, but you're able to improve upon the mistakes that held you back in the rookie year. As a long 2 goes up by Bryan, rebounded by Henson. Henson motioning her way, still trying to wrestle through. Ball still loose, and now it's recovered by Berea. Satori will take up the back of the pack and then fling it across the timeline. Stolen away by Piedmont, and the ball is going to get crowded and fell upon by the Mountaineers, and it's going to go Piedmont's way.
It's a great work by Nene Eads. That ball just slid away. It was her and Mukalamusi, I believe, trying to go down for that, and it's Eads. She slid hard. I can't imagine how her knees feel after that one, but she slid hard, and now it's Lions ball. That's great work, great effort you want to see.
Bryan. Rally bounce pass inside, and right in the way of that one is Mukalamusi, intended for Andolin Hill. High court press here by the Lions, with Satori using a lot of speed as she blitzes past the defense. Goes to go up for 2, and Hill smacks that out of the way.
Swatted it like a mosquito. Get that thing out of here. We'll see a couple of substitutions for Berea, most notably Linkayla James stepping back into the game. This is one of those threats. Lions had a couple mistakes in the last few minutes. Lions actually, both teams, scoreless in the last 2 minutes. Don't want to have that threat of Linkayla James starting to get hard, as we'll see a travel from Satori.
That's rough for Satori. She inbounded that ball, then received that pass, and that's not one that she's traditionally going to make. So that's a gift for the Lions as Alex Willis comes back into this game, tags out with Riley Bryan. Scott takes it across the timeline. Henson inside to Willis. Willis looking for somebody perhaps on the left side, goes to Hill. Hill triple coverage, goes to Scott. Scott motioning her way in from the corner, goes out to Eads, and now Eads is going to pull away pressure. Goes to the top of the key, trying to find some way through. Finds her own path, cuts his way through, and tries to get a foul called there on her. Good motion, but it will be out, and it will be a throw-in or a inbounding here for Piedmont.
Yeah, just touched out by McClendon. Opportunity for the Lions. Scoreless in the last couple minutes. We saw this last season where the defense was so good, that's what we're going to call it, the defense was so good that we didn't see any points, but hey, the offense is hot. That's Andolyn Hill with the shot.
Hey, bars!
Thank you.
That was a long two there by Hill. That one's going to go towards Piedmont, so now Berea, a host of mistakes happening now, as they cannot settle back into that rhythm that you talked about so much, Chloe, as Nevaeh Bates comes into this game.
One thing I'm starting to notice now is we're no longer seeing that high court press from Berea. We spoke about this. They don't have a large roster, Berea, and as well as that, they've got about 7 or 8 players that get in the rotation. Only those 7 or 8 players. You can see that these players are starting to get exhausted. Drea Satori, as we see a good shot there. Drea Satori has played every single minute in this game. Mountaineers are starting to get gassed.
Hill has been on fire recently, and no call there. Still looking for that motion from the referee. No call, as the ball will remain with the Mountaineers. 1:05 left in this third quarter. 51-39. Lions have really opened up the gap here, but Merriweather looking to close it. She's had a great third quarter. Borino takes it across timeline. Haley Borino goes over to Henson. Henson outside to Scott. Now with 45 seconds left, Willis looking to burn a little bit of time. 15 on the shot clock. Here's Hill. Hill's hot in the paint, stays up, and gets the foul.
It was excellent ball movement by the Lions, going across the court from the timeline to the corners, around and around and around. Now getting an opportunity for Andolyn Hill, going up 9-point lead. Despite, it just has not been necessarily the third quarter that you would have loved to see from the Lions, but it's been a good one so far, and they've been able to keep an aggressive lead here.
Well, it's one you can adapt with and adapt from. That Berea came out of the locker room, obviously, with a different game plan in the first couple minutes. So Lions have adapted well as Willis makes it 1 of 2. And a couple subs come in here for the Mountaineers. 52-42, 10-point lead with 37 seconds left. Madison Howell will get the opportunity to inbound it here for Berea. Satori trying to get loose, and she does. Marino is still holding the coverage on her, though. Satori cross timeline. Pulls up stakes even more as she finds her way into the paint. Still looking for someone to pass this off to. Finds Howell. Howell thinking 3, goes back to Satori. Satori with 20 seconds left on the game clock is going to be stolen away by Piedmont. Borino able to shake the defense. Haley Borino in the paint. Shoves one up. Can't get it through the bottom of the basket, but does get the whistle.
And one of those things where Borino, so good at the fast court, has been so good throughout this entire game. Even though, she's not necessarily showed up like she did in the first quarter, or excuse me, in the first half when it came to points, she's still hot in the presses, has had so many minutes in this game. Borino, third most on the team with 23 points, 23 minutes, has an opportunity to extend her points from 7 to 8.
And she does. And Drea Satori, who we mentioned has played a lot in this game, that's her third foul. She is going to take it to the bench. Borino goes for 2 here. And it's going to be just as good as the first. 54-42, 12 seconds left in this third quarter before we enter the final 10. Tipped out by Henson. It'll be a Berea ball. So the Mountaineers going to get the final shot here, it seems, from the corner. Merriweather looks inside to James. James goes up for 2. It's off the back of the rim, and Hill goes to Borino. Borino won't have a chance to heave that one up. But the Lions able to close the third quarter with a good lead on their side, Chloe.
Yeah, if my math serves me correct, that's a 12-point lead, highest lead of the game so far. Was it the cleanest quarter we've ever seen from the Lions? No, absolutely not. But it was good enough to suffice. And Berea still coming out. Thought they were gonna have a bit of a fire under them, but no, still having those mistakes. Now Drea Satori in foul trouble. If you are the Piedmont Lions, you absolutely have to take advantage of that. This entire offense runs through Satori, and now she's got to take some time on the bench.
Absolutely. I mean, you forced that. You've done a fantastic job of making sure that Kayla James as well as Satori are not having the games that they are capable of. You've put the clamps on them. You've forced Satori. I believe she still has about 3 points, if I'm correct. 2 of those coming from the free throw line. So Satori just unable to really workshop anything here in this game. I assume that she will stay on the bench to start the fourth quarter, but it will not be the last we see of her in this game.
Another thing to note is Jaden Merriweather for Berea also in foul trouble. She's been Berea, the Mountaineers' best player by far. 14 points, has 3 assists as well, or excuse me, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, as we'll start off the fourth quarter. It's Spalding looking to inbound. And Kayla James needed a little bit of time, but now she's on the court. Now, what can the Mountaineers do? Merriweather, so dangerous, but in foul trouble. Goes for 3 once more. Just off the rim, will be rebounded by the Mountaineers. That's Pug now, and Kayla James goes up, and it is a huge block attempt, but instead it's just a smack. Andolyn Hill sends Spalding to the line. I mean, I like the attempt for the block, but I think she just missed the mark there.
If you're going to get physical, right?
Yes, absolutely. Spalding to the line to cut the deficit. Does such. 43-54 now. Want to see the Lions stay consistent with the process. They've done a really good job of keeping the game plan and taking advantage of Berea's mistakes. Can they continue to do that now when it matters most in the fourth quarter? Remember, start seeing this high court press once more. Banks over to Barino on the far side of the court. Drives inside the paint, over for a corner 3. Instead, Scott looks to drive in, goes for the hook shot, but instead goes the other way. Merriweather with the ball now. Feeds it to James. Outside of her area. I've seen her go for 3 before, but wouldn't expect it there. Now, Berea looking to go inside the paint. That's up for 3 off the rim, and it's a Scott rebound. Ashley Scott able to play guard and the forward position. Now we'll see some movement here. Barino making a play happen. 15 seconds left to go on the shot clock. Alex Willis. It had to have been a foul, and it was called. Just a double team smacked right out of the hand.
And that's on Merriweather, so that puts Merriweather at 4. Yes, there it is. So that puts her at 4. She's going to stay in this game, too. Interesting.
Shocking. I mean, I don't think at this point in the game you can afford to. You can afford to take her out. Barino goes up for it, the floater, and swishes it right through. Moss with the ball, inbound to Spalding, seeing this high court press once more. Moss trying to maneuver her way around. It's Merriweather, goes up for it, and that's why you keep her in the game. She's just that good. She's having that kind of day. In foul trouble regardless, 16 points on the board. Scott with the ball, over to Barino. Barino trying to quickly make her way down. Andolyn Hill can shoot from 3. Alexa makes some moves happen. Banks now. We know she can definitely shoot from 3. Not expecting that. We've seen some 3s from in this game, Eric, but more electing to go inside the paint where they can dominate with players like this. Alex Willis goes up at 1v2. Andolyn Hill puts a 2-piece on ya. Moss now against Scott. Moss just drives all the way through, goes up for it. An interesting shot there, but it's rebounded by Andolyn Hill. Barino, 2-on-2, and now Alex Willis makes it 1v0, but it's just missed. Now back and forth action here inside of Cave Arena. We'll see some substitutions getting ready to come back in for both sides. This is Merriweather, goes up, and instead somehow rebounded off the bottom of the rim and Kayla James puts it through.
You got to grab that one if you're the Lions. Andolyn Hill makes a great job at a block. You got to grab that rebound.
Now Hill here. We'll see timeout called by Coach Jamie Purdy. I think it's a good time to take a timeout. Obviously, the scoreline's still 10-10. We're starting to see a little bit of a momentum shift here in favor of the Berea Mountaineers.
We're at a big momentum pendulum moment, right? The pendulum is right here, square in the middle. We've seen both teams go on the fast break. We've seen both teams go up for two. We've seen both teams grab good rebounds here. Both of them are starting to steadily build momentum. Whose tower is going to fall first? That's the question here. Who's going to hit that big knockdown three that completely changes the game and how this is going to flow going forward? So this is a great timeout to kind of settle everybody up, circle the wagons. All right, let's guard Merriweather here. Let's put extra pressure on her. She's at 4. Let's see if she can get 5 here. Let's see if we can get her out, because you take Merriweather out of this equation right now, then Berea has to push in Satori, who's already at 3, and then Satori hasn't had the game that she's wanted to. So if you knock down piece by piece by piece, or you clamp down piece by piece by piece, things start to get a little bit brighter and a little bit easier for you.
Of course, and this is something that the Lions can afford to do. They can afford to take this timeout because they have the lead that they want right now, and they have the ability to set the standard and say, hey, you're playing on our court, you're going to play by our rules because we are dominating this game right now. Have to keep it up like that. Drea Satori, like you just mentioned, now back into the game. They need her back. 7 minutes, 19 seconds left to play in the game, and it'll be Barino to inbound near the communications desk. Barino to Henson, who's just subbed in, back to Barino. It's Spalding pressing up high. Barino goes up for it and just gets rebounded by Andolyn Hill, resets the clock. Barino with Scott to her left, receives. Over to Henson. It's a little too deep out now. Barino, Henson once more. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Barino for 3. And it's rebounded again by the Lions. Excellent work by Hill both times to get those offensive rebounds. And it's Scott now trying to play playmaker. Barino over to Henson. Over to Hill. And it goes up and in. Excellent work by the Lions offensively. You just took about a minute off the clock there. Exactly what you need. Now can they do the work defensively? Drea Satori back into the game. Has only missed those couple minutes. In foul trouble with 3. Merriweather up for 3, off, and goes out of bounds for Lions ball.
Lions have not made a three-pointer since the second quarter. Want to see that change. They're 3 from 15 from beyond the arc, so they're taking those chances, but they can't land that bucket.
Starting to get a little bit too easy here for the Lions. Don't get lackadaisical. Just stay the game plan, because you know this is the team where they have the ability to go out and shock the world. Right now, they have the ability to do it right now. Spalding goes up. James, far side for 22, up, and that's the 3 they needed.
Yep, that's what you cannot afford, as Berea is going to put in their shooters a little bit more.
And as you expect them to do, is they need to do it. Lions still holding a 9-point lead, but that can go away in a snap. Barino now, 15 seconds on the shot clock, over to Scott. Double team. I would double team Scott too. Now Willis hasn't seen much of the ball. Now 1-on-2, goes up for it, off the rim, off the glass. Now an opportunity, 1 second left, needs to go up for it. It just hits. There'll be a foul called, looks like on Kayla James. That'll be on
Merriweather.
Merriweather's out. That's huge.
Exactly what you needed if you're the Lions right now. So that forces a man up here. It allows you to play a little bit, or at least for right now, they're going to put in somebody right now at the next whistle.
Looks like Ataya Moss.
Yeah, so Merriweather gone. That's great. But something else I noticed there is, this is a heck of a time for Willis to go cold. It's not a lot of tough coverage on her. But it is coverage nonetheless, and we've seen this from Willis before. We know she's better than this.
We do know she's better than that, but still 5 minutes to play in this game. Still an opportunity to keep on going, but can't be sloppy like that. Lions get away with one. Great work by Haley Barino. Makes the mistake, but what do you want to see from your new leader on the court? Make the mistake, but win it right back. Great work. Keeps it 9-point lead. Like we mentioned earlier, now Jada Merriweather out of this game. That is a huge loss. She will finish with 16 points. That leads all players. That leads all Berea players. Andolyn Hill has 18 on the other side. Burino now. Over to Hill. Can she extend to the 20s? Gets tipped away. Sloppy mistakes from the Lions. Drea Satori only with 3, and it gets fouled in the process. Sends Satori to the line. Only 3 points. 2 of those came from the line. I think the Lions have done a really good job of keeping Satori out of the free throw line, because she has shown that she's clinical from the line.
Absolutely. Don't be surprised if Coach Purdy takes a timeout here after this next possession.
I think it's a necessary one to do. Bounces its way around, but swirls its way inside. Second opportunity here. Can feel the tension in Cave Arena as, yes, there is a lead for the Lions. This lead is a little bit shaky at the moment. Serious high court press now. Andolyn Hill over to Burino. Great quick passing from the Lions. Henson outside the arc now. Goes over to Scott, who we know can shoot it. Burino. Covered by Spalding. Just hitting it around the arc. Can we go inside to Hill? Haven't seen much from Hill. And she's being double teamed, rightfully so. Over inside. Unlikely person there, but it's Hill. Unlikely for Scott to get that shot off, but Andolyn Hill said, don't you worry, that's my specialty. Drea Satori now with the ball, 9-point lead for the Lions. Satori goes between the legs a few times, now over to Spalding. Good defense from the Lions. See a 3-point shot here, and it's Hill to rebound. Have to go on the fast break now. Kennedy Henson looking for help and support. Drives to take it herself. Ashley Scott from 3. Better believe it, baby. And you saw the smile from Ashley Scott. She needed that. That's her bread and butter is beyond the arc. And Drea Satori now struggling. You can see the exhaustion as we'll see a substitute looking to come in. Alex Willis, I would assume that's going to be for Ashley Scott. Great movement and passing from Berea and Kayla James with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Spalding goes up for a long 2, and it's just caught. Just caught from Alex Willis. Cool as you like. Burino taking her time now. Over to Henson. He's bounced out. Couple substitutes here. It'll be Banks and Eads in for Burino and Ashley Scott.
It's a good move. Burino has captained a lot of this game, but it's a good time to let Eads see what Eads can give you right now, because as the scoreboard might indicate, it's not a close game, but it certainly is a close game when you're facing such a good opponent. But with 3 minutes left, you definitely want to see if you can give a little bit of gas to Scott and Burino on the bench if necessary.
And this is a good moment for Nene Eads to step into the game. Got into some early foul trouble, so we haven't seen her in a while. Now it gives her an opportunity to get some more under her legs, and against a great opponent. Yes, the Lions are winning this game, and they're winning it semi-comfortably, but this is still a great game, like we said earlier, as we see Kennedy Henson bank it from 3. It's still a really good game, a conference-like opponent to prepare you for what the CCS has to bring. Now, a shot from deep and returns the favor with 3. It's a timeout now called for Berea. Lions leading the game by 12. With the clock still running, but it's right around a little over 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, and this is exactly what the Lions needed. They needed those threes. They needed that 6-point swing. That's something that is absolutely crucial right now, because it is separating them at the moment. You take away those 6-point games really close here. So the Lions heating up from beyond the arc is exactly what you needed right here, right now. And Berea comes out of that huddle really quickly. They know what they need to do. They want to get back at it. They're aggressive. The teeth are baring, but the Lions are a little bit more calculated. Now they know that Berea has to play into them.
Absolutely, they do. Seeing 3 bigs on the court now, and it's Banks. Back to Henson, still seeing some high court press here. Over to Banks. Henson now crossing the timeline. Henson, one of those two-way players, can be a big inside the paint, but as we saw earlier, is not afraid to shoot it from beyond the arc. Just a mistake there from Henson. saw the idea, but, you know, it was just some miscommunication there. We'll see Barino and Scott step back in. Eads and Banks are out. 2 minutes, 17 seconds left to play. Now we'll see some movement here. Only one pressing high. That's Scott. And now Drea Satori looks to drive inside, goes for the floater, but misses that one. Has missed all day long, and that's Mukalamusi, going hard on Andolin Hill. Mukalamusi, that's her 4th foul of the game. Start to see these fouls more frequently now, just trying to stop the clock in any way, shape, or form that they can. Brino over to Scott. Ashley Scott over. Now Alex Willis has the ball. Hasn't seen much from Willis. Can she make something happen here? And they'll call her for a travel.
That left foot had a little bit too much motion on it after she should.
Still comfortable lead for the Lions. Just about 1:45 left to play. Ashley Scott defending. A Berea player making a man miss, goes up, but that's what you bring. Whatever Alex Willis may not be delivering on one side of the court, best believe she is absolutely doing what she needs to do on the other side. Great defensive block there. Now the Lions have the ball once more.
Just shows how much of a dynamic player she is.
And gets called for the travel again. That one's a little bit unlucky. The ball skipped. She thought she had it. It didn't go. Just unlucky for the Lions. Now Drea Satori. Over to Mukalamusi, goes for 3, hits that one. Now a 9-point game for the Lions. Little over a minute left to play. Henson, what a statement this will make to the rest of the Collegiate Conference of the South, defeating a Berea side that has been so good in the last few years. Still got 50 seconds to go in this one though. Barino drives near the paint, goes up for the floater, and it's going to be rebounded by Alex Willis. What you want to see, sometimes you need the easy ones to get you back going.
Absolutely, sometimes you just need to see one go in.
Drea Satori now. Satori, top of the arc. Now on the far side, drives inside, goes up for it, and it's going to be rebounded by Henson. Henson taking her time, smartly doing so.
Yeah.
An 11-point lead. It's Barino with the ball.
Great job by the Lions this evening. They shot well inside the paint. They shot threes when they needed to, and they played a good bit of defense as another one continues to tumble down.
Lay the threes on is exactly what you need from a game like this. 3, 2, 1, and your Lions, for the second time in a row, have defeated Berea College on their home court. A great matchup. And this one, I've got to say, much better than the last one. Seeing the sides shake hands after what was a really well-rounded performance for the Lions.
You know, it caused us a little bit of heart palpitations last time we were watching these two squads. But this one, a lot more ho-hum for the Lions to get this one out of the way and really just take care of business versus Berea, as they never really caused a big of a stir after the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was back and forth throughout that first quarter. Saw the moments where you would see Berea get that momentum, but the Lions did such a good job of establishing their dominance early that they were able to quickly, anytime there's momentum, call a timeout. You want your momentum? Yeah, you can take it and shove it. Great job by the Lions, and a great performance now, 3-3 on the season. Got a couple more games to go. The next game will be away at Agnes Scott on December 7th. Next game after that will be at Emory. That's one to watch. 6 p.m. on the 10th. The Lions will return home on December 15th against They will return home in January. That's going to be a long away trip against Asbury. And that's when you start conference here in the CCS. Great game probably got to give the player of the game to either Andolyn Hill or Haley Barino. I mean, Andolyn Hill, double-double. It's kind of like bread and butter, mac and cheese. One of those things that you always know will go together. Been a great game, and we're so glad you were able to watch it with us. My name is Chloe Spradlin. With me on the call, Eric Edmondson. Thank you to Leo Ferrero on camera, all a part of Danielle Percival's wonderful staff here at Piedmont University.
Hate to step on your toes here, Chloe, but from what we understand, this is your last time on headset, and I want to thank everybody for your time here. You are Miss Mass Communications. You'll be a double major graduate here in about 13 days, 10 days or so. So I want to give you a big congratulations, Chloe. You've touched a lot of people here. You've done a great job, and I know you're going to do a fantastic job once you leave us here at Piedmont.
Thank you so much, Eric. I've had such a pleasure being able to call so many games here for Piedmont, men's, women's basketball, women's lacrosse. I've been able to call some men's soccer, softball, and baseball. Done a lot of those calls with you, Eric. You're going to take over the department when I leave in a few weeks' time, and I've had such a pleasure being able to work with Danielle Percival's wonderful staff here at Piedmont University. Piedmont has been one of the best places I've ever had the pleasure of being, and I can't wait for what's next, but always and forever a Lion. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube.